So the best of Scare Zone mashup. What could you do in this zone that easily could fit in the best of? And there's so many different properties I can think of. I mean, there's Masquerade, there's Acid Assault, Purge, you got Walking Dead, you got Seven, you got Vamp 55, or the other one, the Vamp, was it Vamp 85 as well? There's so many different zones, Psychoscarapy, I mean, Body Collectors. I mean, so many different things you can throw in a best of Scare Zone mashup. But what are some things I think should go in there? In no particular order, I'm just going to name them. I think you got to go old school with one. Obviously, Tricks and Foons, I think, would have to go in there at some point, maybe at the start of the zone, because that would kind of usher you in. Usher. But it would take you into the zone in kind of a neat, fun way. Another one I think has to go in there is Alice in Wonderland. That is a much talked about Scare Zone. Most people generally thought this was an amazing Scare Zone. They loved it. I think it would fit perfectly in here, although it's only going to be a small section of the zone. I think you have to have it in there. As well as what I mentioned earlier, you have to have Vamp in some kind of way. I don't know whether you do an alternate cast on that one and you do sort of like Vamp 55 on one cast and the 80s on the other cast, but you got to have Vamp be a part of it. I mean, without a doubt, Vamp is probably one of the most well-known Scare Zones in the last like 10 years of Horror Nights, so it's got to be on there. Personally, I would love to see sort of like an IP mashup where we have Purge characters or Killer Clowns come back or Trick or Treat, but I don't think that would happen just because it's kind of hard to get IP license back and then you're mixing them in a zone together. Just doesn't work that way. So while I would love an IP mashup in the Scare Zone, I don't think that would happen. So yeah. And I think a classic way you can do another one is Horror Night Die-In, where you would have maybe a mixture of like classic monsters and different sort of characters that we've seen done at Horror Nights before. You can kind of just mash them up, like the Strangers would come back, or maybe you would have Bride of Frankenstein or Creature of the Black Lagoon, all kind of tossed in this one section. So that way it's kind of like a mixture of both old and new from Scare Zones. And for the last two, I think it's kind of a toss-up. I think between Bayou of Blood, which I think would be a great returning Scare Zone, or you can do Masquerade. I think that zone itself was very awesome. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they won Scare Zone of the Year that year. So I think it would be proper to have either one of those come back. I would be kind of happy with all those, and maybe you sprinkle in some extra characters that we haven't had from the past, like some of the Psychoscarapy characters or the trick-or-treaters that we had at like Halloween Horror Nights. What was it, 22? That is just my thoughts on what could go in a Scare Zone mashup. I want to know, what do you think? Leave it down in the comment section. We will see who has the best mashup. So that is it for the video. Thank you guys for tuning in for all things Brew Bros. Check us out. Social media will be down in the description box. Thank you guys for supporting the channel and clicking subscribe. And I will catch you guys on another video very, very soon. Stay spooky, guys. All right.